Hey scholars, terrific Tuesday. Happy terrific Tuesday to you. Today we're going to do core knowledge. It's going to be Domain 11, Lesson 8. We are learning about Sacagawea, who is one of my personal favorite people to read about in this domain. Sacagawea, we're going to learn all about who she was and how she helped out Lewis and Clark in their expedition and the Corps of Discovery. So let's just dive right in, okay? We're going to have the at-bats and the shout-outs. We're going to go over the objective and vocabulary words. We'll go through the read aloud. We'll check our understanding. I'll walk you through the packet work for today, and that'll be our lesson. Vocab at-bats. Who's got the word? Courage was guided among the Teton Sioux. Courage was honored among the Teton Sioux. Courage was prairie among the Teton Sioux. Which one is it? 3, 2, 1. Courage was honored among the Teton Sioux. Courage was honored among the Teton Sioux. The grass on the guided waved as the wind blew. The grass on the honored waved as the wind blew. The grass on the prairie waved as the wind blew. Which one is it? 3, 2, 1. The grass on the prairie waved as the wind blew. The dog guided the man to the train. The dog honored the man to the train. The dog prairied the man to the train. Which one is it? 3, 2, 1. The dog guided the man to the train. All right, time for some scholar shout-outs. From ISU, shouting out number 8, thank you for sending that work to Miss Jackson. She made sure it got to me. Also, shout out to numbers 9 and 23. I have your assignment from Friday, and I have your assignment from yesterday, Monday. And the shout outs for Ashford. Shout outs to number 1, 7, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 24, 25, and 27. Wow, Ashford, a lot of you are sending in work. If you see that your number is bold and it has a star next to it, it means that I've gotten the 2 assignments that I need from you. I got the assignment from this past Friday, and I got the assignment from yesterday. The Scholar Shoutout Board will reset on Thursday. I will reset it on Thursday. So if you want to make sure that your number's up there and that you have a star for those extra team points, make sure I have both of your assignments, your assignment from Friday and your assignment from Monday, because those are the 2 days that I expect to see your work. Real quick before we continue, my cat Venus decided to step in and say hello and give that extra special shout out to the scholars with the bold number and star next to their number. We are both very proud of your work. Keep it coming, guys. Mwah. Thanks, Venus. All right, let's keep going. Objective, we learn all about it. I can write a sentence about how Sacagawea helped Lewis and Clark. I can write a sentence about how Sacagawea helped Lewis and Clark. It's time for vocabulary. The first word we need to know is permanent. Permanent means not changing, Mrs. Kulma's tattoo is permanent and looks the same every day, right? So there's a picture of my tattoo. You can see it here in my arm. It's permanent. It looks the same every single day. The next word we need to know is plunged. Plunged means fell or dropped quickly. He plunged into the waves of the ocean. The next word we need to know is protection. Protection means something that keeps you safe. We wear sunscreen for protection against the rays of the sun. The next word we need to know is translate. This is super important today, guys. Translate means to change words from one language into another language. She knew several languages and was able to translate for visitors. So this is huge that we know this word today. Where are we? Real quick, we got to find it on the map. Let's find the Atlantic Ocean. Go ahead. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to point to the Atlantic Ocean before I draw a big blue A in there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Atlantic Ocean, as a lot of you are pointing, is right over here. You can also see right here, a lot of you are emerging readers can see that it says Atlantic Ocean there. Next, we need to find the Appalachian Mountains. I'm going to circle the Appalachian Mountains in green, but I'm giving you 5 seconds to find it first. Did you find them? The Appalachian Mountains are right here. Those are the Appalachian Mountains. Next, we need to find the Mississippi River. Go ahead, point to the Mississippi River. You have 5 seconds before I draw that blue line tracing the Mississippi River. All right, the Mississippi River, I'm going to start at the bottom because we know it starts near New Orleans. And it snakes its way this way, all the way up like that. That's the Mississippi River. Next, we need to find the Rocky Mountains. This is super important for today. Where is the Rocky Mountains? Where are the Rocky Mountains? Go ahead and point there. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go ahead and circle the Rocky Mountains in red. And there are the Rocky Mountains. Oh, Louisiana Purchase. Where's the Louisiana Purchase? Point to the Louisiana Purchase. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to draw an L over this green area here because that's the Louisiana Purchase. The Missouri River. Find the Missouri River for me, and I'm going to trace a purple line through it. But find the Missouri River. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the Missouri River, it starts here, and you can already kind of see that red there, right? So that's the Missouri River. Not the best line, but I tried my best, right? Finally, the Pacific Ocean. Where's the Pacific Ocean? Where's the Pacific Ocean? I'm getting ready to draw a P in the Pacific Ocean. You have 5. Find it in 4. Find it in 3, 2, 1. The Pacific Ocean is right here. And you can see right here it says Pacific Ocean as well. So that's our review of the map. Next, we're going to review the 3 tasks that Lewis and Clark are trying to accomplish as they travel through the Louisiana Purchase. We're going to see what are the 3 tasks that they're doing. The first task, of course, make friends with Native Americans. Have they done this? Have they accomplished this task? There's a check mark here because yes, they have. They made friends with the Yankton and Teton Sioux nations, so they have made friends with Native Americans. The second task, find an all-water route to the Pacific Ocean. They haven't gotten to the Pacific Ocean yet, so they haven't technically accomplished this task yet because they haven't gotten to the Pacific Ocean. Finally, the third task, collect samples of plants and animals. Now we know that they've encountered various types of plants and animals. So I've put kind of a half of a check mark here because they've started to and they're getting there, right? Maybe they have a few samples, but they certainly want to collect so much more on their journey. So this picture here is from Read Aloud last week, 2 read alouds ago. George Drouillard, who, when Lewis and Clark were looking for men to join the Corps of Discovery, George Drouillard came up and said, ask the men about me. So some things we need to remember about George Drouillard that are important for a read aloud today. He is a translator. We just heard about this. That means he can say the same thing in more than one language. He can listen in one language and then repeat it in a completely different language. What does that mean, though? What does it mean that he's a translator, that he knows these different languages? Lewis and Clark only know English. They already rely on George to help them communicate with members of their group who only speak French because some of their group comes from Canada, which still technically belongs to France. So he's already helping them communicate with part of their group. How does it work? They give directions and then Drouillard repeats those directions in French. If the men have to share an observation with Lewis and Clark, they say it to Drouillard and Drouillard repeats that in English. So he is vital to their mission in helping them communicate with their men, but also he knows several Native American languages. So he's already helping translate across so many different lines. So we traveled with them across the Great Plains. They've encountered prairie dogs. They've encountered the grass. But where are they going to spend the winter? And who are they going to hire as guide and translator? George Drouillard does not know all of the Native American languages. He only knows some, and the further west they go, the less George Drouillard can really help them with the new tribes they meet. So their first concern, where are they going to spend the winter? Because they can't exactly just hide out and stay out in the open field on the river. That's going to get cold. So they need a place to stay for the winter, and they need some more help. They need a new guide and translator. So let's see who helps them. Go ahead, get into that awesome GLP. Listen very closely to find out where they spend the winter and who comes to help them during the winter. Again, this deals with one of my favorite historical figures of all time, Sacagawea. So go ahead and listen in. If you already know something about Sacagawea, go ahead, keep that to yourself. You know my feelings about spoilers. But this is super, super great. So let's dig in and hear all about who Sacagawea is and what she'll do for Lewis and Clark and the Corps of Discovery. As autumn approached, Lewis and Clark were in a hurry. They knew that the Rocky Mountains lay ahead, and they hoped to spend the winter there among the Mandan and Hidasta, two Native American tribes that had been friendly to them. However, it was already so cold that the river was freezing into ice, and when the river froze, it was impossible to travel up the river in their boats. Where the Knife River flows into the Missouri, Lewis and Clark found 5 villages of Hidasta and Mandan Native Americans. Like other Native Americans living on the plains, these people hunted bison, also known as buffalo, from horseback. They also lived in permanent earth lodges and farmed the land around their homes. Permanent means that they had shelters that did not move, unlike nomads who moved their shelters with them. 4 or 5 families shared each lodge, and even the horses spent bad weather days inside in a roped-off space just inside the entrance. The Mandans especially welcomed the travelers from the east because they were used to visitors. Other Native American tribes and trappers came to the Mandan area to share the news and to buy and sell furs from beavers, elk, or bison or bear. So the Mandan are very used to travelers. They're very welcoming. They're very friendly. This sounds like a great place for Lewis and Clark to spend the winter with their men. Across the river from one of the Mandan villages, the explorers built a wooden house and surrounded it with log walls 18 feet high for protection. They made the high log walls to keep them safe. The men of the Corps of Discovery called their winter home Fort Mandan, named after the Mandan Native Americans. They dragged their pirogues onto the riverbank, but before they could move the keelboat, the river froze around it. It took 3 weeks to chop the keelboat out of the ice. When the river froze, it froze around the boat, and the boat became stuck in the ice. They had other worries too. Lewis told Clark, "We are eating so much food that we will run out before winter is over, and in this terrible weather, it's going to get harder to hunt." Thankfully, the Mandans appeared one day to tell them, "We have found a herd of bison nearby. Come hunting with us. We brought horses for you to ride." The result was more food and warm blankets made from bison hides. As the winter nights grew long and temperatures plunged or dropped quickly to 30, even 40 degrees below zero, the explorers also traded with the Mandan for food. In return for the food, the Mandan Lewis and Clark acted as doctors for members of their tribes who were sick or injured. And several of the explorers who were skilled as blacksmiths made iron tools, axes, and arrowheads for the Mandans. The party spent many cold nights asking the Hidastas and Mandans about the country that lay ahead. Lewis and Clark kept all the information they learned in a journal. Why would they want to keep that information in a journal? Why would they want to write down all this information they're getting about the land ahead? What do you think? I think maybe that they would be able to look up the knowledge when they needed it later. If you have a different thought, go ahead and text that to me. Then one day, a French-Canadian trader appeared at the gates of Fort Mandan. He announced, "I am Toussaint Charbonneau. I heard about you from the Hidastas. I am an excellent cook, and I speak English, French, and several Native American languages. I can cook for you and translate what is said in other languages into English." Lewis and Clark couldn't speak any Native American languages, so they needed people who could talk to them and also to Native Americans they would meet. Also, one of their 3 tasks is to befriend the Native Americans. So even though they've already made friends with some of the tribes, they want to keep making friends with these tribes as they move further west. So even though they've technically accomplished that first task, That's an ongoing task for them. Charbonneau had not come alone. With him was his very pregnant wife, a young Native American woman named Sacagawea. Sacagawea was a member of the Shoshone tribe who lived further along the Missouri River. The Shoshone were the next tribe that Lewis and Clark expected to meet. Lewis and Clark discussed Charbonneau's offer. Sacagawea could be helpful when we reach the lands of the Shoshone. She could show the Shoshone that we come as friends, and she knows a lot about the countryside there. As for Charbonneau, if he is the cook he claims to be, he will be a welcome addition to the party. So Lewis and Clark think that Sacagawea can be a guide and translator for the expedition. Lewis told Charbonneau, "We want you and your wife to join us, and of course, we will pay you for your work." This turned out to be one of the best decisions the co-captains ever made, and while they had agreed to hire 2 new members on the expedition, they soon had 3. One cold night, Sacagawea gave birth to a little boy. Charbonneau, the new father, looked proudly at his newborn and said, "We shall call you Jean-Baptiste Charbonneau." William Clark laughed. "That's an awfully big name for such a little fellow to carry. I'll call him Pompey." Pompey proved to be a good little traveler, too. Lewis and Clark organized their notes and drawings and labeled samples of plants and animals they had gathered. When spring came, Clark announced, "We have decided to split the party into 2 groups. We will send some of you back east to take President Jefferson the things we have collected and written. The rest of us will continue west. Remember, there's no telephones or email, and there's no way to send mail in the Louisiana Territory." Lewis and Clark sent some of their Corps of Discovery to tell Jefferson of their progress and what they'd found so far. On April 7, 1805, some of the party returned back east as planned. They carried with them 4 boxes and a trunk filled with plant and rock samples, as well as the captain's journals and drawings. They also took with them some living animals, such as a magpie and a prairie dog. Lewis told Clark, "I wish I could see President Jefferson's face when that magpie starts chattering away. The president will be pleased, and he'll be delighted with all the information in our journals and drawings." Clark replied, "He'll be even happier when you and I report to him in person that we have reached the Pacific." Then the 2 men started westward, once more with the remaining men, women, Sacagawea, and a baby. So Sacagawea was a Native American woman that was hired by Lewis and Clark to be a guide and translator. It's time to check our understanding. We're going to move through this a little quickly so I can help we walk through the packet work as needed, okay? Who did Lewis and Clark spend their winter with? Who did they spend them with? Why? Why did they spend the winter there? How did the Mandan tribe get food and where did they live? How did they get food and where did they live? I'll give you about 20 seconds on this one. 20. What kind of relationship did Lewis and Clark have with the Native Americans you learned about today? What kind of relationship did they have with the Mandans and the Herastas? How do you know? How do you know that they had that kind of relationship with them? Why did Lewis and Clark decide to split the expedition into 2 groups? Why did they split up the group? Typically you don't split the party, so why did they split the party? What did Lewis and Clark have the men take back to Jefferson? Why did Lewis and Clark keep information in a journal? They wrote down some information in a journal. Why would they write that down in a journal? And which two of President Jefferson's 3 tasks have they accomplished in our read aloud today? Which tasks have they accomplished? So you can update your checklist with the 2 tasks that they've accomplished, which is, of course, make friends. So I'm going to put those check marks here. Make friends, because they've made more friends. And they did collect and send back some samples. So go ahead, take a couple minutes, update this checklist to match mine. Update your checklist to match mine. If you need to pause the video for more time, go for it. Now, today, what are 2 ways Sacagawea helped Lewis and Clark? We haven't quite gotten into it yet, but we know why she's been hired. What are the 2 ways that she helped Lewis and Clark? What are the 2 ways? I'm going to give you your restate. 2 ways Sacagawea helped Lewis and Clark are, 2 ways Sacagawea helped Lewis and Clark are. So you're going to write that restate and make sure you write the 2 ways that she helped Lewis and Clark. This does not need to be turned in for a completion grade today, so you just need to make sure you're working on it and you're writing your 2 reasons. If you need to go back in the video to find the 2 reasons, that's totally okay. And finally, last week during office hours, I had us drawing and writing sentences with vocabulary words, and everyone thought that was really great, and I thought it was so much fun, I would give you the chance to help me decide which words we should use for office hours tomorrow. So this is how I know you watched my video. You're going to text me what words you want to draw. Some words we learned today: permanent, plunged, protection, translate. Some words from last week: brave, core, expedition, prairie, honored. If there are other vocabulary words that we've learned about that you want us to draw, have someone text or email those to me. I'm going to be writing that list, and you'll get a Grower Team Point for suggesting something that we write or draw during office hours. So send me your idea for what vocabulary word we should draw during office hours, get that Grower Team Point, get an extra shout out, and you know what? We can have a really fun office hours tomorrow drawing all these amazing vocabulary words together, okay? This is how you get on my shout out board for this video. And that is it for today, guys. We heard all about Sacagawea and where Lewis and Clark spent that winter, and now you have your restate for your restate answer sentence. Most importantly, text me the vocabulary words you want to draw. The ones that are the most popular are the ones that we'll draw during my office hours tomorrow. I hope to see you all there at my office hours. I miss you so much. Stay home, stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.